Hi everyone, it's Reverend Sarah Grady from St. Paul's United Church doing a midweek check-in and asking first and foremost from you this week for forgiveness. I am at the point in this pandemic where technology is starting to repel me. I cannot seem to get services that we've recorded uploaded, and so I offer an apology for online content missing over the last couple of weeks and a huge thank you to Erica Raymond and Jim Hutchinson and Megan Sheedle who have been helping with the services. We filmed one on Sunday morning when we couldn't have our in-person worship, and it just simply will not upload. So I have an appointment to get my computer looked at, but just asking for some grace and forgiveness as I try and get this taken care of. Haven't had this much problem with my computer the whole pandemic, and now all of a sudden. So there it is. So I offer that grace and forgiveness to you for me, and I want to get right into it with our talk about the drama of desire, because that's the chapter that we're looking at this week in We Make the Road by Walking. And what an interesting chapter it is. We're looking at the story of Adam and Eve, moving along in the book of Genesis to the part where Eve actually eats the apple or fruit or whatever it is from the tree. It's been interpreted and translated lots of different ways, and there's no real consensus exactly, but it's often depicted as an apple. And Eve eats that, and she and Adam try blaming one another, like who did it, who was right, who was wrong, and then Eve blaming the serpent, all of that stuff, and eventually God just saying, yeah, I told you not to, and you did it anyway, so out you go. And really, this story is looking at rivalry and competition and how we can imitate God's generous desires, McLaren says, to create, bless, help, serve, care for, save, and enjoy. Or we can imitate one another's competitive desires and be driven by fear, rivalry, judgment, conflict, and even killing. We're moving into kind of some heavier subjects in the book, and so I was thinking a lot this week about that, and my reflection for Sunday included some reflection time about my time that I spent in Northern Ireland, doing some learning about the Troubles in Northern Ireland. For those of you who know about it, rivalry and competition at the heart of a 30-year conflict that saw many lives lost, including children. And how does that play out for us in our own personal lives, was the question. So I want to look at the questions from the back of the book with you. And the first one that I want to think about is share a story about your interaction with someone you were jealous of or considered a rival. What did they have or desire that you desired, and how did your relationship play out? I couldn't really think of something in my adult years where this had happened to me, but I thought back to being a child and going over to a friend's house for a sleepover, and they had their own television set in their own bedroom. I'm one of 7 children, 2 girls and 5 boys, and so my sister and I, who was 9 years older than me, had to share a bedroom, and we certainly did not have our own television set in the bedroom growing up. And so I was so jealous of my friends. I remember going crying to my parents about the injustice of it all. I didn't really have a rivalry with my friend, but I remember feeling quite upset about this and wondering, why can't I have my own bedroom, and why can't I have my own television set in my bedroom? As I reflect on it now, I don't really remember the response from my parents too much other than to say, we're sorry that's something that we can't offer to you, but you have a roof over your head and food in your belly and parents and siblings who love you, and that's going to have to be good enough. And looking back on it now, yeah, it was more than enough. But we seem to get it in our heads sometimes, particularly in our younger years, but for some of us it spills over into adulthood too, that we need more than we actually have in order to feel happy or whole or complete. So I wonder for you, has this happened in your life, not just in childhood, but is there something in your adult years that's happened where, as you reflect back on it, this has been the situation where you were jealous or considered somebody a rival and it colored your relationship with that person? And I love the question for the children. Again, these children questions are great for the adults. How do you feel when you win or lose in a game? How do you feel when you do better or worse at something than someone else? tell us a story about it. Great conversation for around the dinner table, in particular as kids are going back to school. I think the whole grading system always kind of left me feeling a little bit less than if I didn't get, a wonderful score, or somebody that I was sitting near, a friend of mine got an A where I got a B, or vice versa. It tends to make us feel not as good about ourselves when somebody does better at something than we do. But the truth is, we all have different gifts. And what this chapter is all about is recognizing that we have different gifts and things to bring to the table, and that's not a bad thing. Celebrating our diversity and the different things that we bring to the table, rather than seeing them as cause for competition or rivalry or fear or conflict, or as a place where we can judge somebody else for something. It's been too often part of our human history. I invite you to think about these questions this week, have conversations with one another around the dinner table. Don't hesitate to continue to connect with me through Facebook, or through our email in the church office, or to my personal email at revsarahgrady@gmail.com. I love having these conversations with you. I also want to invite you, so we missed out on an in-person worship, but we've since looked over the rules and confirmed that this coming Sunday, we can do an in-person worship because we will be staffed, we will be supervised, we have hand sanitizer, outdoors, socially distanced, and so we are actually going to join with Richwood United Church in a campfire worship, and it's going to be hosted at Five Oaks Retreat Center here in Paris, so please join us. It's going to start around 10:30 a.m. I'll get all the information out to you in the coming week. It's going to be a campfire service in the morning, but there's something amazing about being out in God's good creation and being together. It's going to be a really casual service of worship. Please don't bother to dress up to come sit around the campfire. We're going to keep an eye on the weather and hope that we can move forward with it. And again, I want you to keep praying for me, because we hope to have an online upload for you this week that we're going to try filming and see how we do after I get my computer looked at. So my blessings to you all for whatever the day holds for you. I pray that God surrounds you and that these questions challenge you to think more deeply about your relationship to one another and to God. And let's just keep walking the road together, friends. I'll talk to you soon, and I hope that whatever you do today, you feel richly blessed by the love of God and all that you say and do. Talk to you soon.